Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another vlog, psych vlog over here. This is week 19, episode 19, and goodness me, uh, 19 weeks. So hold up, it means the coming week, week 20, we've done 5 months. Wow. I was talking to someone earlier, just saying that, wow, February from the time we started until today, yeah, time is flying. Time is flying quick. But anyway, with regards to this week, um, yeah, so we had like a submission last week, and we have a submission the next coming week. We've got a lot, let's just say June and July, there's a lot of submissions going on. And with regards to this week, it's been an interesting week, to be honest. Monday, we had our seminar group. So we had a previous one, I think about 2 weeks ago. We were discussing about anxiety. So we're looking at generalized anxiety, excessive worries, panic, and phobias, and how to treat them. So, how to recognize them, spot them, what do we do in our assessment sessions, and most importantly, how do we treat them? And that was the previous one 2 weeks back. But this week we dealt with more of depression. So, how do we recognize it? What do we do in our assessment sessions in terms of kind of like formulating and coming up with a summary statement, but also, again, most importantly, it was more on the treatment side. How do we go about treating it? And how do we use behavioral activation? What are the key aspects that we need to consider, focus on? It was good because, having a tutor who's very experienced, who's also on the higher intensity and, understands sort of like what we're trying to what we're trying to treat and how to kind of stick to a particular protocol, because there's sometimes you get mixed up. So we have an intervention or a technique known as behavioral activation. So that's one particular treatment. And mind you, a lot of these, in the high intensity CBT, they go more in depth in terms of CBT, whereas in the low intensity, the PWP, we're taking aspects, we're taking like, bits and pieces of CBT, but, for low intensity type of cases. So even when it comes to like the cognitive therapy, so we're looking at dealing with thoughts, what we call cognitive restructuring. So you've got cognitive restructuring, and in that, what do we do when we're working with thoughts? That I just found out. We all found out on Monday that is an intervention in it of itself. It's a standalone intervention. So that's sort of separate. And what do we do? It was really informative. It was really, really insightful. Then after that, we were, practicing and getting a bit of a better understanding for our RA2s, our reflective accounts, which is our next written assignment. That's the next deadline that we're currently working on. So kind of reflecting on what we submitted in terms of our treatment recordings, what mistakes we made, where did we go right, where are our strengths, but also the areas that we feel that we can improve in. Tuesday was quite interesting because I really had to hold myself in what sense? I had three particular cases that they were just talking and talking and talking, and what I'm trying to do in my triage is really trying to stick to half an hour to 30 minutes. That's our duration. If we go above that in terms of 35, 40, it's understandable depending on the circumstance. Did they fill out the questionnaires prior to the actual appointment? Sometimes language, sometimes understanding. So we take these things into consideration, these factors. But it's we don't blame them that they have that opportunity to kind of, open up and talk about their problems, but we're trying to kind of like really give them that opportunity, but within the time frame that we have. So it was very, very difficult because I'm not really used to. One of my weaknesses is interrupting, and this is something I'm trying to build up, improve, enhance, and hone this type of skill of interrupting or kind interrupting, so that we can, stick to the actual duration. But three of them were tough, and there was one point where I felt like I was almost losing it, to be honest. But I kept on holding on, and I was talking to one of the supervisors. She's like, "It's not easy, Herschel. It's not easy. It's not easy, Herschel." Toby, it's not easy, but well done for trying. It's not easy. We understand because it really can be difficult. When you're trying to stick to time and really interrupting, you don't want to feel bad. You don't want to feel you don't want to seem rude to them, but you really want to stick to time. You want to give them that ability to kind of speak up, to open up, to kind of vent. However, sticking to time is something important because we've got other clients. We can't be listening to them for forever, but we have that particular session to kind of screen, find out is our service the right for the service, and then move on to the next steps. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday was interesting. I had one of my clients had to cancel, so I had to kind of postpone that. And then what we have is I had an intro call for Silver Cloud, so for the CCBT that went well, and supervision. To be honest, I'm learning every week. Every week I'm learning something new with regards to supervision. Every week I'm learning something new, and it's so beneficial. I'm very fortunate that I have a great supervisor who's very understandable. He's actually new to supervision as well, but I'm amazed by the work that he's doing. He's really, really good, very helpful, very supportive. And even, talking about support, I recall that one of my supervisors actually on Tuesday at the end, she was telling me to take a break, take a breather. There's some ice lollies in the freezer, go and get some. And then later on, she came at the end of the day, she just gave me words like, you need a break, take it. So it's good to have that support, to have a working environment that encourages you to kind of take the time off to kind of, recover yourself. You need a breather. You need a short little break to kind of like get yourself together, because it's a lot of tough work. We're listening to people's problems, we're listening to people's stories, their problems, the difficulties that they're experiencing. And a lot of stories, if not the majority of these stories, are very, very distressing. It's hard to kind of like imagine 6, sometimes some people do 7, but 6 in a day, different stories. And you're trying your level best to kind of help them out. So that was, every week's just a learning, a lot of learning every week. And learning is growing, learning is development. Development is you moving up, you moving forward and progressing. Thursday was amazing as well. I had, I had a one-to-one session that went very well. And then on Friday I had 2 cancellations, but that's all right. I think it was good. Got an opportunity to kind of like take it a bit easy, relax. But continued with the rest of my clinical cases. Thursday was a nice one in terms of the evening. So Thursday I had a session with the clinical support workers who work with us, those who have applied for the PWP program, and we had a session for about an hour about prepping them for interviews. So previously, about 4 years ago, even until now, I do now and then, I support people, or I actually coach people for interviews. So I do a lot of interview coaching. And I've coached a number of people ranging from entry job level, students and graduates, people with a couple of years experience, 5, 10, some people even 15 to 20 years experience, and I've coached them for interviews, and a lot of them, fortunately, alhamdulillah, have really, really benefited. Not only have they benefited, but they've strengthened, they became more confident, and for the interviews that they were preparing for the majority of them managed to actually outperform and succeeded in securing that particular job and that post that they were applying for. So that's something that I want to give back. And I got a comment from one of our senior PWPs in the service, and she's like, I've told the actual team that you the hard work that you're doing and the help and assistance and support you're giving to the CSWs, the clinical support workers. So well done on that. Keep it up. I told them I'm just doing my best because, at the end of the day, when we were applying, me and a lot of my cohort, we didn't really get that support. We didn't know who to go to. So I felt like they have every right in terms of getting the best support that they can when they're applying for the PWP course. And to be honest, there is something that I'm cooking up, that I'm preparing, hopefully a PWP course coming out soon for anyone who's applying, anyone who's got accepted for an interview, preparing them. It's going to be hopefully like a 1-day, 3-hour event where we're going to go through the whole application. How do you apply? How do you screen yourself? When you're in the screening, kind of like if you've got a LinkedIn, we're going to work on that. Actually, I didn't think about the LinkedIn. I didn't add that, but you know what? I might add that as well. But most importantly, how do you apply? Work on your CV, work on your personal statement or your supporting statement. And then finally, how do you prepare for the interview? So that's pretty much it in terms of the week. The week went quick. The week went good. And there's been some really, really nice feedback from clients. I've literally had clients email the administration saying that, that this person's very supportive today. I've had clients, not that I'm treating, but like just making sure that they get to the right sort of, like making sure that they get allocated to the right people. And I guess it just helps, knowing that you've helped someone. You didn't treat them, but through your screening process and in the triage, you managed to get them to the right people. You managed to get them to the right support. And that really, I'm always happy to know that I've helped someone in somewhat way. It's not easy, but it is always possible. We got to keep trying. Stay tuned to the next video. Until next week. And I haven't written the blog yet on LinkedIn, but I will be doing today. So stay tuned to that. And enjoy the rest of your weekend.